Guys, my dad literally just got punched in the face for being a Trump supporter. Like, that was it. Just for being a Trump supporter. And I do it again. Bop, bop. And I do it again. Bop, bop, bop. Do it again. Bop, bop,
I'm Marquez.
do it again. Bop, 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 bop. I do it again.
Hold up.
Bop, bop, bop. Do it. Bop, bop. Do it again. Bop, 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 bop. Do it. Bop, bop. Do it again.
Hold up.
Bop, bop, bop. Do it. Bop, bop. Do it again. Bop, 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 bop. Do it. Bop, bop, bop. And I do it again. Guys, my dad literally just got punched in the face for being a Trump supporter. Like, that was it. And I do it again.
Hold up.
Bop, bop, bop. Do it. Bop, bop. Do it again. Bop, 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 bop. Do it. Bop, bop. Do it again.
Hold up.
Bop, bop, bop. Do it. Bop, bop. Do it again. Bop, 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 bop. Do it. Bop, bop. And I do it again.
Hold up.
Bop, bop. And I do it again. Bop, bop, bop. Do it again. Bop, 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 bop. Do it again. Bop, bop, bop. Do it again.
Hold up.
Bop, bop, bop. Do it. Bop, bop. Do it again. Bop, 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 bop. Do it. Bop, bop. And I do it again.
I'm Marquez. You see you, boy?
And I do it again.
All right. Hey, everybody. Oh, goodness. Hey,
Where'd you go?
everybody. Oh, no. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
What is
I didn't do anything. I did not do anything. So,
That's
fun story
crazy.
chat. Fun story chat. When I first joined the stream link, my camera wasn't working, and I had to like go under and like unplug some stuff and turn OBS off and back on again. So I have no. This bodes well.
All right. Are we live?
Yeah. I mean, I see us on YouTube.
Okay.
So.
I'm
well,
going to accuse you of having the devil's computer, sir.
how much money do you think I can get for it? Like if this setup is actually Satan's computer, like there's got to be people who are going to be are willing to pay, right?
You would think so.
Yeah, you know, the people who might be willing to pay, they might be willing to just take it though.
And there's that. Of course, if it's actually the devil's computer, they might want to watch out because that seems like.
That means I'm the Antichrist.
Uh-oh. Wait, are you Obama? Oh, the show. We have people in here. Anyways, now I can't find anything anymore. But Left-Handed Jedi, I do want to thank you for gifting 10 cult members to the channel, and to Al Trucker, Left-Handed Jedi. You can donate to yourself? What the fuck? When did that start?
Can. You actually can. You do not have to.
You
do not have to be a member to donate memberships. I've donated to myself, but I've never donated to myself on the account that I was donating from.
I did not know that. I mean, all I know is like what I've seen on Twitch, and I have never seen that happen on Twitch. So hey, today's the first for a lot of fucking shit, right? But yeah, Mahalia, Dog, Kip Davis, or Dr. Kill, Tsunami, Hill Hugger, Lazy Cat, the Brojo Show, Lucifer Almighty. Welcome to the cult. Please enjoy your Embership and Nitties. Embership, God, I've got Ember on the brain.
Yo,
please, your nitties and vaginas. Your nitties and vaginas.
Please tell me that that's what she calls them.
Emberships, yeah. Most of those people do have emberships, though. Got Ember on the brain. Where's Ember? Is Ember here? Ember, we love you.
Yeah, yeah. There she's at.
Oh, see, Ember is here. She's like, mwahaha. All right. All right. So welcome, everybody. Oh, yeah, you probably want me to do something like this. Andy, tell everybody what we have today.
We have one of our favorite people to discuss. I'm gonna hold on. Let me do the thing. No, not that thing. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that thing. I meant to do that thing. Gina. Hello.
Yay.
CERN.
Yep. Gina
So there is talk of CERN.
is most well known for her obsession with Kalalu.
Yes, yes.
And for saying hello too many times, although that's more Logic's shtick than it is our shtick, I think.
We do get a handful of hellos out of her, though.
Yeah. But to be fair, in this video, most of the hellos are actually saying hello to people, like that showed up in the chat.
Yeah. She does say hello to individuals in the chat.
Yeah, but so Gina has a cool 153,000 subscribers.
Yes, yes,
those
she
are
does.
Not quite Roger numbers, but
she's getting up there.
Yeah, getting up there, and she also has dancing on her channel. So
lots of dancing.
I don't know what's taking so long. And this video has 22,000 views and is from a year ago.
22,000 views.
Yep. And this is a subject that is near and dear to my heart because of all of the totally wacko like physics conspiracy theories that have existed in the last 50 years, conspiracy theories about CERN have had by far the most legs.
Off the charts. Conspiracy theories about, well, we've done quite a few of them, actually. I think this is the first time we've done one of hers, but people love thinking that CERN is creating wormholes into hell and will be the reason for the downfall of mankind.
Yes. Now, I would like to reassure everybody that in the unlikely event that there are microscopic wormholes being generated at CERN, they are not dangerous because of of Hawking radiation.
Mm-hmm.
And also because, well, honestly, I think there's a decent chance that they wouldn't even stay localized to Earth. You'd probably have a recoil temperature that goes off. There's actually a related conspiracy theory about imploding Bose-Einstein condensates that features my advisor directly. Maybe we'll get to that. It doesn't actually come up like super directly, but I have some receipts about that one that I think.
So yeah, this week our guest had to drop out, sadly. We're wishing the best for them. So it's going to be me and Vandy, and I believe that you guys like that. So we're at full steam ahead. So if you have any questions for Vandy or me during the chat, please feel free to, of course, super chat. I cannot think for shit today. God damn. Super chat. We do love those. However, you do not need to do that. I love you all. And if you just at me, depending on what you're asking, we may or may not answer. It depends on how I'm feeling. I'm a bitch like that.
But if given tonight, the topic it's extremely like physics heavy. If you want to know about the actual science and stuff behind it, I will happily just go into all of the details that I know.
Happily. He can geek out the whole 2 hours on almost anything. Hey, we haven't seen the whiteboard in a while.
I have. It's here, I swear. It currently has a little bit of a diagram showing the energy levels of hydrogen, and this is hydrogen, this is the ground state. But hydrogen is not a thing that's particularly interesting at CERN. However, anti-hydrogen is. Anti-hydrogen has been laser cooled for the first time ever at CERN. It's a crazy cool experiment, and they were able to drop it last year. And we were able to answer the question, which way does antimatter fall? And it falls down. We were all expecting that, but maybe it didn't.
Well, no, that's good though, right? That means that you were able to make novel, testable predictions that came to fruition. And that is how we separate science from religion.
Yep.
All right.
Okie dokie. So let me go back to the very start. helpful.
CERN. So there is talk of CERN starting back up on July the 5th of 2022.
How long is this video? Because I was gonna say, like, we may
The-
want to put her on 1.25,
Yeah,
but
I can do that. I'll put her at 1.1 at least. I can do that.
okay.
Because
And
that's
then
like
I guess
almost,
at the hour mark we can, because
yeah.
she rambles a lot.
The part that we absolutely must get to is at about 16 minutes in.
Yes.
No.
We will absolutely get to that. Even if we have to stop it when, like, we'll ramble and be like 5 minutes in.
Yeah.
An hour and 45 minutes from now. You know what? We'll just jump to that mark because Gina is giving one of us a shout out, and we want to thank her properly.
Yes. By the way, I want to give a quick word of background. CERN is a big, it's a multinational research institution, which is in a combination of France and Switzerland. It's sort of underground and it's pretty big. So it's sort of in both of those. I think CERN stands for the European Center of like Nuclear Research, I think, but in French or something. But I don't even actually remember that like for sure. It's where it's where the Large Hadron Collider is. It's where the Higgs boson was discovered. Big deal, real place. And this is a picture of one of the detectors. They're huge. Like a human being is like the size of my cursor here.
Interesting.
You see? Yeah, they're quite large.
And I've been reading a lot of comments saying, Gina, what do you think about CERN opening back up? And I really
opening back up, was it closed?
So the thing about big particle accelerators is they operate in on schedules, and you'll have a data run schedule, and the collider operates 24/7, constantly taking data, sort of switching from one set of settings and whatnot to another as it has been scheduled in advance by the organization that gets to make those decisions. You have to like put in applications. It's very, very much like being able to get and use time with the James Webb Space Telescope or Hubble.
Yes, which you actually did talk about once before.
Yeah, and you need to apply for it, and then you have a certain amount of time that's blocked out where you get to basically be like, okay, I want you to do these experiments, and then the people who like actually run the collider, they run the experiments for you, because these are not this is not like a car that you can rent and then use yourself. Like what you describe things like, I want a beam luminosity of this amount, meaning that's sort of like how many particles are you actually sending, and I want the particles to be at this energy, and I want you to be probably also particularly looking for whenever you see two like B mesons or something fly out, and that's the data that I want you to recover. Because the other thing about these experiments is they produce like terabytes of data a second.
God.
That might be an exaggeration, but not by a lot if it is one. And you have to be, you have people spend entire PhDs designing a circuit that when a particle goes through it, it sends a little electrical signal, and then they design it so that that little electrical signal gets to another thing that then decides, okay, I'm going to record this data, because 99.999% of the data you don't want recorded.
Right.
So you have to design very fancy stuff to be able to be like, okay, in this exact situation, you got to trigger the thing to record, but you don't have a lot of time, because if you wait 20 milliseconds, suddenly you've got megabytes and gigabytes of data that's like buffered, and it you have to streamline every bit of this. It's kind of crazy.
And did we answer this question already, or?
Yeah, so CERN is the biggest. It's It's where the Large Hadron Collider is. They do particle physics. They do all sorts of other physics there too. They probably do a lot more than just physics too. I wouldn't be surprised. Because CERN, I think, I actually didn't fact check this, but I think she's going to inform us that CERN did its first experiments or whatever in like 1952, and that sounds totally plausible. I did not fact check though, because
when we get there, I'll look whatever she said.
Yeah.
Given it much.
Oh yeah, and Al, I'm sorry, we're never gonna get through this video.
No.
Al also says yes, it doubles as a Hellgate. Also,
Yes.
without looking that up, I'm just gonna say it's a fact.
I mean, yeah, of course. I mean,
so many people say it so often, it must be true.
Yeah. Let me get the CERN logo up here. So this is the CERN logo.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah, 666. They really hate that. It's not 999. Definitely not 999. Only 666.
Because the thing is only, well, actually, how many of them can be sixes? Yeah, I guess 3 of them can be sixes, and two of them can be 9s, or P's. They can be P's, not 9s.
No, they can't be 9s. They can't be P's. They can't be B's.
I'm sorry. I have dyslexia sometimes. Not really.
No, they can't be P's. They can't be D's. They can't be 9s.
Or 6.
There can only be 3 6s because it's evil and it opens the Hellgate. How are you going to open a Hellgate if you don't have 3 6s? God, I thought you're smart.
I thought so too. Then I started a show with you and haven't been able to get out of it. Terrible.
Not at all. I haven't. I read about CERN years and years ago.
Not well.
And you know, you read it so much, you look into it so much, and then it just gets
so much. She's looked into it so much.
But
I studied this so much that I forgot all of it. That's her point. And
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's innocent. I think they've probably done something already.
What do you think she thinks that they've done?
I don't know. Was there an awesome Hawking joke that I missed?
Probably. I'm not good at reading chat when I'm, doing my self-aggrandizement.
Oh, right. Yeah.
As I am wont to do.
Get fucked, Al.
Yeah. Go to bed. Don't you have to wake up early?
Oh, yeah. Al, Ember, bed now.
I really do. And there's talk of them opening more portals.
More. Because in addition to the at least one that is already open. Now, if you're wondering where this came from, stop, I guess. I don't know.
They can create a portal, a gateway to other dimensions. There's even talk about.
We know this from all the gateways into other dimensions that we have through, the scientific.
Whoa, hold on. Who told you about? Oh, your joke. Okay, never mind. Nothing to see here. I would like for her to define the term dimension in this context. Dimension is a term that gets widely misused. And it actually is difficult for me to immediately pull what I am confident is a rigorous definition, like out of my butt. But it because it can mean multiple different things. It can mean like a degree of freedom, like you live in 3 spatial dimensions. If you need 3 coordinates with a given, reference frame to specify a unique location in 3-dimensional space, that means that it has 3 degrees of freedom.
Okay.
And that means it's 3-dimensional. So in that sense, dimension can mean degree of freedom. It can also mean like the fundamental units of something, but not the actual units. So like Celsius and Fahrenheit are units of a temperature scale, but temperature itself would be the dimension. And length is a dimension, time is a dimension, energy is a dimension. That is it. And so when you analyze like multiple choice tests that you might have gotten for like the SAT or anything in high school or something, sometimes they might ask you, okay, if a rocket burns its engine for 10 seconds, how fast is it going? Okay. And one of the answers is 10 meters. It's going at a speed of 10 meters. You know that is wrong because it doesn't have the right dimensions. Mm-hmm. Velocity has dimensions of distance over time or length over time.
Okay.
So that is what it means. What she means is like an alternate parallel universe.
Right. It's a hole into another universe.
That's not a thing. That is science fiction.
Yeah,
that's always science fiction.
Yeah, there's like answer A, answer B, answer C, D, all of the above.
Yeah.
She's just off the chart. She's like Z, alternate universe.
Yeah, exactly.
A hole
exactly.
that you could punch into an alternate universe, which is awesome. Also, the sinister porpoise for $5. Representative Green wanted me to ask if the anti-hydrogen was cooled by Jewish space lasers.
The lasers were underground.
Ah.
Yeah.
I don't think that.
And it took a long time to develop because laser cooling hydrogen is very difficult because you have to interact ideally with the bottom two energy levels because so you have your ground state hydrogen thing. So you got your proton here and then you got your electron and it's chilling, you know. And the next excited state that it can be in is if it absorbs 13.6 multiplied by 3/4 electron volts of energy. If you get a photon that can knock the electron, so instead of orbiting in this orbit, it's orbiting up in this orbit, then you're able to impart some momentum because photons have momentum. Photons have momentum. It's very, like, it's weird, but they do. And so you do that. But the thing is, the photon that you need a photon that has like 144 nanometers as its wavelength. That's deep ultraviolet. And no laser existed that could like produce that frequency for a long time, and they had to spend a couple decades inventing the laser, which they also did at CERN. It's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds what incomprehensible. Like it's not where my field of study is at all. But thank you for. I'm sure somebody understood that. Also, for $5, Sinister Porpoise asked, "Was the anti-hydrogen cooled by Jewish space lasers?"
And I said the lasers were underground.
But were they Jewish?
I'm sure that there were Jewish people that were involved in their design. Lasers, I don't think can be Jewish though.
Have they opened up a parallel world? Because that's one thing they did want. They wanted to.
Who's they?
Come in contact with the parallel worlds.
They sign your Illuminati shield checks.
I mean,
at the bottom, doesn't it just say they?
I don't read the bottom. I don't read
just to deposit the check.
I have direct deposit. I don't even get checks. Get with the times, Maya.
I know. I'm sure I'm age. You young whippersnappers.
So they can learn from it.
If we can learn from the parallel world.
I don't know, you all. But I want to look a little bit into it since it's a big topic. It's an enormous topic. It's not about the observatories tonight. Hello, you all. Thank you for tuning in.
Hello.
Let me come over here. Let me close that out. Let me put this right here. So let's look at some images of CERN. Right here, you see Shiva.
We're just going immediately to Shiva.
Yeah,
I mean, it
because
is.
why not?
To be fair, it is legitimately. I believe that is Shiva in this first image.
Yeah, that sure.
I think.
But what does it have to do with the price of tea in China? God damn.
She doesn't know. She didn't know that this would be the first image until it displayed on her screen.
Okay. Let's go.
The destroyer. And there was something that had occurred. I forget in which country, like a stone or something, some kind of a statue, an ancient like statue had broken in two. Something had broken in two, some kind of rock.
Okay, all I'm getting for this is that there was a story in some country where an ancient statue broke.
Okay.
Helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a stone statue, which I mean, I think that means it's not the Colossus of Rhodes, which is the only notable example, like really notable example that I can think of a
I wish
statue like
somebody had
breaking.
drawn it. That would have been helpful.
That would have been really helpful.
But I'm not going to. I'm
something
just
in
going to
it. It was
derail.
a-
So yeah. No, because like the seven wonders of the ancient world, like I think I don't know, especially when I was little, they used to intrigue me.
They
And
still intrigue me.
I had seen statues of the Colosseum of Rhodes, and then I didn't know that that's not what it actually looked like. And they were like, "Well, we think it's this, but due to how you construct statues that don't fall on people, minus a great earthquake, we think that the legs are probably together and da 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 da." All we know is that everybody thought it was like miraculous and were in awe when they saw it, and like not a single motherfucker in 100 years thought it would have been worth writing down, which is interesting, considering the time it was around. But I
Yeah,
digress.
like we have more art from like Neanderthals.
A harbinger of doom. That's how the story went. But look at some of these images of CERN, and it's enormous. They've got what's that image?
I don't know what that is, but that's a cool sculpture. I do think that's a cool sculpture.
It almost looks like a Dyson sphere, but I mean, I don't.
There's
I
not a
doubt that's
star
what,
in the center of it.
I mean, I don't know what that's supposed to be. That's what it reminds me of when I look at it. And if it's art, isn't it up to my own interpretation? Go fuck yourself. That was rude. I don't know what that. I mean, what is that supposed to be? Is that
I legitimately don't know. It looks like if you asked an artist to make a piece of like a sculpture that was, inspired by like a Mobius strip, this wouldn't be exactly right. But again, artistic interpretation.
Right.
Yeah, it could totally be a thing. I don't know. I don't know what's in the back. That's a lot more ominous to me. What was that?
What?
I heard it like a door slam.
Oh, yeah. No, people live here with me.
God, change that.
I know, right?
300 terabytes of public large hadron collider.
Data is the ending of that sentence,
Yeah.
in case it bothered you as much as it did me.
Hello there, Apple Brooks.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. So let's look at this.
Hello.
We're right here looking at them. They're celebrating. The on-site open labs.
Well, see, now that looks a lot more like a Mobius like strip style thing.
Oh, okay.
And
Oh, you know
it's
what?
the same spot too.
Oh my God. Okay, I see it now. Gotcha. Now I think it's just a bad statue or sculpture, whatever.
This is a different one. It's not the same.
No,
sculpture.
not that one's cool. It makes more sense that that's what you're saying.
Again, I don't know what the other
one. Yeah, I had no idea what it was supposed to be.
I also don't. I also don't. But it does look like what a piece of paper does when you start to like cut stuff out of it. Mm-hmm. That's what.
Yeah.
Summer student lecture, and that's pretty neat. CERN scientists find evidence that the universe should not exist. Now, why shouldn't the universe exist? I have no idea.
That
I don't know that I want to go there. I've been listening to so many call-in shows, and that one always comes up. And I'm
That
just
the
like,
universe should not exist.
yeah,
There,
yeah. Well,
there,
if not for God, then why is there anything? Like,
there are legitimate, fascinating mysteries about that are at the core of the arguments that people give, the fine-tuning argument. There are legitimate mysteries that we're
yeah,
still working on.
sure. I mean, and
that
science
are,
is looking for a reason to why God. No. Actually, science doesn't ever answer why. Just how.
yeah.
And again, not an atheist, but it just never occurred to me that there would ever be nothing. And Tracy Harris, who used to be on AXP,
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
like, when she said it, it made the like it really like connected with me, like, that without
Like
actually thinking about it. This is what I've always thought. Like, we've
it does.
never observed a nothing. We don't have a nothing to see things come from or not. We can't work with or experiment on a nothing. So we can't then say that something can or cannot come from it. It's a non-factor. We have to
Yeah.
assume that there was always something.
You can't even ascribe properties to nothing,
Yeah.
because then
I've argued with people on that.
it's not a coherent
Yeah.
concept that I am aware of. It fundamentally,
Yeah.
it is not a definable concept.
Yeah. No, seriously. And I was arguing. I wish I was arguing with, because a lot of people in the chat are going to know. But I mean, it was like it wasn't Daryl Frost. I don't believe. Could have been Daryl. If this was you, I apologize for forgetting you. But it was one of those types of pedantic people. But I was like, well, why? There can't be a nothing. Like that. That was my stance for the argument. Like, there can't be a
There
nothing.
can't be a nothing.
Right. And I'm like, okay, there's a nothing in space. Like, why would there be a nothing out there?
There
Like,
can't be
what are you
space.
doing? What do you do with it? And they were like, well, you put something in it.
Well,
I'm
you
like,
don't
no,
exist.
it's nothing. We don't know that you could put something in it.
You can put stuff in space.
Right.
You can't put something in.
You have to have something to put something into. You can't put, we don't know. Maybe, I mean, okay, if there was a nothing, how do we know that it's not rock hard? How do we know that it's just it's the absence of space? How do we know that we could put something in it? Like, I'm not saying that is what nothing is, but we don't have a nothing. We don't know what it is. So we can't say that there must be nothing to put something in, or for something to, like, I think when people this has got to be one of your more favorite questions. What's outside of the universe? And then scientists will say, well, nothing. And then they'll be like, well, what is the universe expanding into? And it's like, nothing. And so they think that nothing is this quality from which that something can fill into. And I'm like, that's not what the scientist is saying.
Yeah.
It's just,
the answer is
there's
more properly, we don't know. Yeah, there isn't.
That we know of.
Yeah. And once we started to describe properties of it, the term nothing would no longer be appropriate.
Right. Clear. Sure.
Okay.
Just say, I had to go off on that rant because I've argued with so many people, and he's a doctor. Argue with him. Stop arguing with me. Nothing isn't a thing. I'm not gonna argue with people anymore about what we could do with nothing, because we don't fucking know. And holy shit.
Exactly.
But yeah, there's like, oh my gosh, Yeti the monster.
I don't know where that came
they have
from.
Some
Yeti the monster? Is that what she said?
Do, but
yeah.
She's talking about Sasquatch.
But yeah, there's like, oh my gosh, Yeti the monster.
I mean, the word monster is not on screen. It says yet it moves. The word Yeti is not on screen either. The word the is not on screen. Everything about what she said is just not correct. Yet it moves, and that is a reference to Galileo, I believe, because he was forced to recant his stuff, and he supposedly murmured under his breath after his trial, yet it still moves, meaning the Earth around like the sun or something, or Copernicus or whoever. But he didn't actually, because he would have gotten killed probably.
I was gonna say,
Maybe. I don't actually
damn,
know.
that's bold.
Yeah, I don't think he actually did.
Al wants us to know that he's sleeping now.
I'm skeptical.
Sorry.
Right here, they have some strange looking things. They do, but that's how big it looks. It's got all these wires and all of this kind of.
Yeah, it does. It has a lot. Oh, can we see like a person anywhere?
No.
Okay. No, but like this thing here, like those rails are probably like 4 or 5 feet like tall, and like there's cables going everywhere. Like, look at this. This is a lot of shit. It's a very complicated apparatus, and it's several apparatuses. Like there are multiple detectors and whatnot at CERN that are like put at different points along this like 27-kilometer long primary accelerator ring. This one, I don't know which one this is just by looking at it.
Stuff and all of that. But listen, so
I gotta say, I don't know what to say about this.
Look at this article right here. Sorry, but we accidentally ended the world in 2012, admits CERN.
Is that Reddit?
Oh,
wait. Oh, right. The world, more importantly, the world accidentally ended 12 years ago. Or I guess, yeah, still 11 now, but
yeah,
whatever.
I don't understand. So this was apparently published in 2018, which is impressive given that the world ended.
Right. Is this like one of those things where like, what are they saying that there's you can't really go through one of those what's the thing on Star Trek that this portal
wormhole? Teleporter?
No, teleporters. Yeah, like you can't really go through those because you're actually killing yourself every time you walk through. Is that what happened in 2012?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe, right? I'm also not convinced that's true.
I like the can somebody help me out? What was the cartoon where like somebody went through a teleporter and a fly accidentally got in, and so they merged with the fly and they became a human fly, and it was funny. I'm sorry. Teleporters.
Rick and Morty? That sounds like it would happen on Rick and Morty.
So it does sound like a Rick and Morty show, but it predates Rick and Morty. But
fantastic.
Scientists at the European
Could that
Organization
happen?
of Nuclear Research have admitted today.
No. I mean, you need to get a teleporter first. And actually, there's this thing called the no cloning theorem in quantum mechanics. If you have a particular quantum state, it is impossible, and you can prove this mathematically, according to the laws of quantum mechanics as we understand them. It is impossible to exactly recreate and duplicate that exact quantum state in general, like for an arbitrary quantum state. You can make the same quantum state, but you cannot create like a device or an algorithm or a process that is basically able to scan an arbitrary thing and then create a duplicate. If you were able to do that, that would entail somewhere along the line a mathematical contradiction, and therefore you can prove by contradiction that it's impossible to do
that. Well, at least a dozen people are telling me that it was the fly. But possibly The Simpsons did it in one of their Halloween remakes. And then what was the other one I saw?
But they might have done the fly. Like a Cronenberg sort of thing seems very... I mean, that again, this sounds like Rick and Morty, because they definitely did a Cronenberg episode, or several of them.
Also, Treehouse of Horror, which I've never seen, but I will give that as a...
Isn't Treehouse of Horror like the name of like the Simpson episodes that are like about that? I could be
Oh,
wrong.
so another Simpsons one. I don't. Okay,
I don't
I'll
know.
be
I never
totally
watched
honest.
Simpsons.
I don't look at the titles of Seinfeld episodes, Simpson episodes, like any of that. But
Yeah.
that sounds like it would have been the title of the Simpsons episode. So you guys have great memories. Thank you so much. Also, Blessed Be He has entered the chat. And guys, we're not gonna call names. We're just gonna attack the argument. Blessed be He. If you, I would love it if you would just engage with the topic. But if you must derail the chat, 1, I approve. 2, no proselytizing. This is your one and only warning. The mods are just gonna start timing you out after this. Like, fuck that shit. Vandy, where'd you go? Gina is
I'm
not
here.
talking.
To ending the world as we know it back in 2012, while performing experiments into the Higgs boson particle.
Oh god, it's boson.
It's Boston. Like Boston without the T.
The first, like, you can say boson, but boson is also totally fine. That might be more correct. I don't know. So it's named after the physicist Sachendra Nath Bose, who was an Indian physicist who sent his work to Einstein, being like, I wanted to get this published in the top journal at the time, and the language of physics very nearly was German.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason it isn't German is because we won that war.
Thank God. Now get out there and vote. We have another war to win.
Yeah.
$2 for Mad Computer Scientist. Treehouse of Horror equals Simpsons Halloween episodes. So it's right. It was one of the Simpsons Halloween episodes. Thank
it's like
you,
the Woodland
Mad
Critter
Computer
Christmas
Scientist, for and the rest of you as well for setting me straight on whatever was going on in my brain, because it was a long time ago.
There's nothing going on in her brain.
Go fuck yourself. Oh, and press the like button.
Yeah. So this was like a conspiracy thing, so they say, in July of 2012. They did do an experiment, and I think it was on July the 4th, and they were so very, very happy that they did that experiment. They were.
What experiment?
Let's look at this.
The Destroy the World
is where you go to
experiment? Because let me tell you, there has never been an application. There has never been an application that was accepted for destroying. There's some weird nuclear stuff that might count. She might have a point here. I think I'm on Gina's side.
Well, the devil or the Illuminati work for the devil, and the, who obviously wants to take over the world. So, yeah.
Indeed.
Speculation. The experiment, for whatever reason, caused our reality universe to collapse and fall into an accelerated entropy. And those in power flipped the switch to start the simulation back up.
What? No. What? No, none of that makes any sense. What simulation? We don't have control over any simulation.
This is right here. You are. This is really strange. This is the World Economic Forum, and this is from 2016, September the 7th. And I just want to warn you that they got an inappropriate word in here. They do, and you may be surprised to see it worded in here, used at this World Economic Forum. Let me put this in here. I like to put the link.
This is precious.
Just so we can have future references in the description. So if you ever see it, you know that, hey, Gina put it in there. I'm going to put this very search that I did in here also. We're going to cover all our tracks. Let's put it up there at the top, because that is where we started, right there. And images of CERN. We're going to put it all there, is what we're going to do. I'm going to put it up here since the images were kind of the first ones, and you all can have.
I don't know what she's blathering on about. But Gina
I
does.
was just about to ask you, honestly. I was like,
No,
maybe in another sentence or two, I'll understand what's going on.
it's mostly been the kind of vacuous, just sort of. I'm surprised we haven't had a hello, frankly.
Well, not since the
All
last
those
one,
links
certainly.
Yeah.
to look at right there. They're in the description. So, welcome.
Well,
So this is the World
that
Economic
counts.
Forum back in September the
counts.
7th of 2016. So you have all these physicists. Look at them. They're looking up. What are they looking up at?
Probably a screen. I mean,
I would assume that if there were a PowerPoint, a screen would descend from the ceiling, and there's a speaker. Clearly, there's a guy with a microphone right there, guy with a headset.
mhm.
They're probably explaining something that is a visual presentation on the screen, or there's wherever the fuck Gina thinks.
The Director General. 4 years after the discovery of the particle, the world's biggest scientific experiment is still seeking to unlock the mysteries of the universe. On the outskirts of Geneva, CERN is there. Despite the jubilation in the physics community when the Higgs was detected in 2012 and public relief, the experiment did not suck the whole world into a gaping wormhole. There
Black
remains a
hole.
lot to discover.
It wouldn't have been a wormhole. It would have been a black hole.
Black hole.
It would have been a black hole.
There was something interesting that I also saw about this. Remember when we was reading this this article or this story from after the World War II?
The World War II. I loved that. I thought that was precious.
Yeah.
This scientist or something in Russia, they started this experiment.
Oh, God,
What
I
did
wonder
she
if
do
she's
that? It's like she used
listening to
this
Trump
healing-
too much.
Right. So we've got back at the end of the World War II, we've got this scientist or something in Russia. And then there were other words.
What was that? A healing sarcophagus?
What?
Healing sarcophagus.
What? Is
And
that a
they
thing?
had this
Not that I'm aware of. I don't know any healing sarcophaguses.
thing.
Hey,
like a
BBH has a question for you and only you. She'd like to answer that.
That energy is the necessary being. I wouldn't use the word being to describe energy.
Are we going with God as energy?
I mean, if God is energy, then
I'm the one who was in the New Age community. Like, I'm kind of upset that she's trying to like confiscate one of her views.
Yeah.
I don't look. I need chapter and verse. Where does the Bible say that energy is a necessary being for creation? Look.
I mean, you need energy for like dynamics in some way. You could have net energy be zero though. To me, that's the if you can ascribe a single numerical value to the energy in the cosmos, which maybe you can't for the record, but if you can, to me, it seems very likely that that number is zero. Because, I mean, what other number would it be, right? Like, come on.
Hey,
but,
works for me.
Yeah, I mean, should you be extremely compelled by that? No, you shouldn't. You should be more like, I don't really know what that means, because I don't know what it means either, and neither does Gina. I guarantee you.
Stargate that they would.
Stargate.
Oh, Tikas doesn't know. Yeah, so we've been covering Gina for quite a few months now. I think the first time we covered her, she was concerned about a black hole taking over the solar system. I wish I had the snippet because I did a great summation of what she was talking about towards the end of our stream, where it's just like, yeah, it's a black hole. It's like taking over the universe. Like it's unstoppable. Like I'm like, no, I'm gonna be the new black hole. Coming right for you. Oh my god.
We love you, Gina.
She's
Go
awesome.
to, but it was back in 1952, shortly after the World War. And I read
The World War II.
today that is when CERN did its first experiment back in 1952, when the doors officially opened at CERN.
The portals.
And I'm thinking, that sounds really strange because that Russian woman that we read about, and the finding of the little
Russian woman. What did I miss?
what's that?
Sometimes I miss stuff because I'm reading chat. Is there a Russian? Did I miss a Russian woman?
She was talking about the World War II, and then there was a Russian scientist or whatever. I don't think she had said that it was a woman until just now.
Okay.
Also,
Could
for
you
the
possibly
record,
be talking about Bullwinkle's Natasha? Oh, I'm sorry, your baby. Does that ring a bell at all for you? You know what? Moving on. Just hit the play button. It's fine. I'm old. It's stuff that
Whatever that was,
we talk
the
about stuff that
Stargate
we
thing.
know.
They could push the
It's
dial and they
crazy
could go
thing.
somewhere, and all of that was also in 1952. So, really, was there truth to that? Because it sounded really very bizarre, and
Truth
it
to
sounds
what?
bizarre that reading that CERN had its first doors open back in 52. Yeah.
What was bizarre about any
So
of
let's
that?
look at this, you all. Oh, that's me. You all. Let's
I
look at this. So this is 90.
it's bizarre to her. But if you say it enough times, like she said it, at least 3 times, now it's true. It's bizarre.
Yeah. Yep. These are facts.
This is titled 7 Things You Didn't Know, and I guess this is from the World Economic Forum, and I'm going to tell you right now.
Which is a kind of a weird place to go for your particle physics news. I'm just going to say, World Economic Forum would not be the place I would go for up-to-date happenings in the world of physics. If you are looking for a recommendation on a popular science website or wherever to go for good information about physics, I would highly recommend phys.org. It's spelled the first 4 letters of physics, not with an
We should do a
S.
Saturday
Ow.
stream with Caden. I would love to pick his brain.
I would be totally down for that on every level.
You're probably going to be shocked if you have not looked at this article about the language that is used therein, but this is theirs. It is. We're going to read it. So 7 things you didn't know. 95% of the universe is still unknown, according to the staff at the World Economic Forum. They are driven by a shared passion for knowledge.
So the 95% of the universe being unknown thing, that is specifically a reference to the fact that, for one, I think the slightly more correct number would technically be 96%.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, this might have been accurate at the time. I can't remember. And sorry, I've randomly lost my train of thought because I'm dumb.
Yeah. I thought you saw Daryl's name and you were just like, oh, fuck.
That was what distracted me because I'm dumb. And I'm so bad at this. It's dark matter and dark energy. So only 4% of the universe is matter and radiation that we normally know and love, like atoms and photons and neutrinos and all that good stuff. That is 4%. Then another 20-something% of it is dark matter, and then about 70% of it is dark energy. And that is referring basically to the general amount of energy that can be assigned to these various factors on average in a volume of space-time. Or I guess in this context, space also just works, but yeah.
Real quick, since I made you answer the last one, I am not an atheist. I don't know why this is news to people. I can't call myself a theist technically. Although, I mean, I don't know. Vandy, what do you think? Energy is necessary for everything? I don't know what.
I don't know that it's necessary for everything. Like, I don't know that you need energy for the Pythagorean theorem to be a coherent, like, thing within the structure of mathematics, for example. But like
So
abstract entities don't require energy.
yeah,
But I'm not a philosopher.
right. I'm like
But
I don't know.
I
If
would
somebody had asked me, like, just, is energy necessary for everything? I probably would say yes, but then I would quickly throw them to like the nearest community college to ask an actual scientist, because again, this is not my field. Maybe that makes me a theist. I don't know. Energy is an entity. I believe that there are entities that are made of energy. I don't know that I would call all energy entities. So I'm not really sure where she's coming from on there.
Yeah, I'd want to know what the definition of entity is. If it just means like a thing, then like, yeah, sure, okay, I suppose. But like,
Right.
is the concept of number an entity? Maybe, I don't know. Like,
I mean, it takes energy to generate the concept in your brain.
Yeah, but that's not the same thing as the
That,
actual concept itself.
I don't think that's what she's talking about. So I
Yeah.
don't know. But I did think it was a fun question that I wanted to throw around. So thank you for that thought provoking question, which
But yeah,
I know you believe was a gotcha, but
and I want to push back, like, just because even if I were to agree that something specific and physical is obviously totally necessary for all of the other stuff, that doesn't mean that I agree that that thing is a god.
yeah,
So, like,
and
what do you mean by God? Like,
yeah, that it's a deeper dive than we can get out of that one question. So
it is. It
you
is.
have our answer.
Yeah.
Insofar as we're willing to go on the stream.
Going to, do their things. As the Romanian flag is raised for the first time this week to mark the arrival of CERN's 22nd member state. So this is from 2016. Number one, the Large Hadron Collider is colder than outer space. It is a 1.9 K.
Kelvin. The unit is Kelvin. And it's the only temperature unit that people should use.
Look, Kelvin is not one of the freedom units. Can't expect her to understand that.
Yeah, but I mean, neither is Celsius, and yet
Negative 271.3 degrees Celsius.
Oh my god!
also not a freedom unit.
Way to go! But still more colloquially used than Kelvin,
Yeah.
which I did learn. Middle school. We didn't use it obviously, but it was a science class, and I can't remember why, but we were talking about something in space or like units of measuring in space, and I remember it being on a test. I remember it being one of the things that I had to study for a test. So
yes, and I believe, though I could be incorrect, but I'm pretty confident. The Kelvin, for one thing, you don't say degrees Kelvin, you just say Kelvin. But if you say degrees Kelvin, even I mess that up occasionally. People who really get on your case about it,
like Leo,
are obnoxious. Yeah, like me. Excellent at being obnoxious. Okay, I have a PhD in it.
Yes, indeed.
But
can vouch.
Yeah, so Kelvin is the unit of temperature that is used in the standard international system, whereas Celsius or centigrade, which are totally interchangeable, I believe, is actually the unit in the metric system. So standard international SI units are not identical with metric units all the time. Mostly they are, though. That's a fun fact.
It's a fun fact.
Daryl is not completely wrong.
But he's partially wrong. Is that the best kind of wrong?
Well, it depends on what you. So, okay, given the fact that Daryl says it has turned out to be a bit scientifically disappointing, then the statement qualifies itself enough that no, it's not wrong. It maybe emphasizes the disappointments more than it does the accomplishments, but that's a matter of taste, and a lot of physicists would agree. There are a lot of people, a lot of physicists were really thinking that by now we were going to have hardcore evidence for supersymmetry and therefore like string theory and stuff like that, and we don't. The standard model of particle physics, which was sort of put all together and mostly wrapped up with only minor modifications afterward in the 70s, that's when it really all sort of came together, was in the 70s. That model, with only a few modifications like neutrino mass, has remained accurate, and with those modifications has correctly predicted the result of every experiment within its domain of validity. There aren't any experiments that you can point at and be like, listen, the standard model predicts this other thing, and we don't see that. Everything that the standard model has predicted, like positively and assertively, we have found it has been. I don't know how to do that, Spooky. I don't know. Like,
You're mid-sentence. You're so mid-sentence. You remember what you were saying? Oh,
everything that the standard model predicts has been spot on. The theory hasn't failed yet. That's the disappointment. What disappointment.
What does this mean?
I disagree. How is energy omniscient? Omniscience is a property that I think can only be ascribed to a conscious experiential entity, right? Knowledge is a thing that is what does it mean for energy to be omniscient?
You are asking the wrong person, but disappointing again. I'm sorry. And then we're going to go back to Gina.
Oh yeah, no, I was just going to say, it's the disappointment has been that we haven't had any real new awesome puzzles that we can really sink our teeth into. Unlike, for example, in cosmology, where our models very much are running into some problems. We have the Hubble tension, for example. There are places, so there is one other area in particle physics that is a little bit similar to the Hubble tension, maybe two. One of them would be the magnetic moment of the muon. The muon is basically a short-lived, heavier version of an electron, and measurements on that have been in conflict with each other. That several experiments measure it to be this value, and then a bunch of others measure it to be this value, and they do not agree to within error bars. That is one big tension. Also, the radius of the proton is another one where that one I think is getting a little bit more worked out, but things are still unclear. This is exciting. This is like every physicist would love to solve it, but the presence of the tension and of the conflict is exciting. Yeah.
And apparently you're a shill for Big Trig.
I'm a huge shill for Big Trig. Oh man, I'm a bigger shill for Big Trig than I am for big gravity. Okay? Trigonometry and a furrowed brow is enough to debunk flat Earth. All you need is trigonometry and a little bit of competent analytical reflection.
Did Dr. Kill bounce? In his second to last stream, he was like, go sub to Bad Science Sunday because, it's mostly silly, but and I was like, well, okay, fair. But Still,
Mostly we are. Like we've been a
mostly,
lot more. We've
but
been
sometimes we do shows like this.
for sure. Yeah, no, this show has been a lot, like already has been a lot more, I think, quasi-educational than our normal fare, because you served me up such an easy one this week,
Oh
Maya. I
yeah,
love you so much.
I just whatever basketball term.
Layup. That's
Layup.
what you're
Thank
looking
you.
for. Yeah.
Thank you.
Almost absolute zero. A cryogenic.
So in Kelvin, when you use units of Kelvin to talk about temperature, 0 is absolute zero. Negative Kelvin temperatures are not well defined, unless you start to get really pedantic about certain things. But they're not well defined.
Cooling system keeps it this frigid for the sake of the superconductor electromagnets which spin proton beams hurtling towards one another in a loop 100 meters below ground.
And 27 kilometers, I believe, in circumference. I'm pretty sure that circumference, it can't. You would use the biggest number. So you would use circumference, you wouldn't use diameter. That's a big machine. And the reason that, so what this article was talking about is that there are certain materials that when you cool them down very, 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 very cold, you can send electricity through them without any resistance, any measurable resistance. And that means that you can just be like, okay, I've got all these, like, I've got this loop of wire, and I cool it down super, super, super cold, and now I put a little bit of voltage across it, and I'm able to send thousands of amps through it. And the thing about electricity that's going in a loop is it creates an incredibly strong magnetic field. And when super fast particles go through strong magnetic fields, they get turned slightly to one direction, and that's how you're able to keep them going in a circle. That's why they use superfluid helium, or yeah, probably is superfluid. But they use helium at these crazy low temperatures in order to allow them to drive these enormous magnetic fields. I believe that similar technology is sometimes used in MRI machines and whatnot. Generally not quite as cold, because we have created materials that can be superconducting up at much higher temperatures, like temperatures that you can access with liquid nitrogen as opposed to liquid helium. Liquid helium is very expensive, because if helium gets out of your thing, it goes to the top of the room, and then it goes to the top of the atmosphere, and then it goes away into space.
Abri has a comment for you.
I've always been more partial to the name Jason personally, but also Lord Kelvin has more embarrassing quotes attributed to him than any other physicist except for Einstein. And as a proportion of the quotes attributed to him, it's way, way worse for Kelvin. Like, Einstein gets them all because he's like Jefferson, and people just attribute quotes to him. But
also, blessed be he has decided that we are all theists, and therefore there's no need to ever proselytize in my chat, at least again.
Okay, blessed be he. If you think that energy is synonymous with God, then okay.
God damn it.
I just don't think that that's a reasonable thing. I completely disagree with you. I do not worship energy. I do not believe that energy or anything is worthy of worship. And I don't know why that qualifies it as a god. And also, I still disagree that energy can be described as omniscient. That doesn't make any sense to me. So,
yeah, theists would say that.
No, they wouldn't. They really wouldn't, though.
God.
Of the superconductor electromagnets which spin proton beams hurtling towards one another in a loop 100 meters below ground. So that's the one thing right there. It's a set of gargantuan detectors.
And this is what it looks like if you go down. So this is actually a location that when the accelerator is running, when you actually have protons zipping through this thing at very nearly the speed of light, you're not allowed in here because they're probably like sending off x-rays and all sorts of shit. Because it turns out that if you have a charge, a non-zero charge, and it's going in a straight line really, really, really fast, and then you push it so that it bends a little bit, it turns out that charge will emit a ton of radiation in the direction it was originally going. That's just like a thing about how the electromagnetic force works. And yeah, they don't want to like give people cancer. So yeah.
Geez.
And also, if God forbid there were to be some sort of technical fault with the machine, and suddenly one of those superconducting magnets stopped superconducting, suddenly, instead of all of that electricity going through without any resistance, suddenly now it's going through with the resistance of Ohm's law, which is voltage equals resistance times current. This is just like a fluid, a liquid moving through pipes. Pressure is analogous to voltage. Current is analogous to current.
Yeah, I was wondering what you were going to liken that to.
Yeah, no, current is analogous to current. Pressure is analogous to voltage. Charge is analogous to like mass, I guess. And so once it stops superconducting, suddenly you have all of this current that's going around through this thing, but it's not doing it without resistance. So it suddenly produces an enormous amount of heat. And the thing that was originally cold and like ultra cold, it suddenly heats up dramatically and everything explodes.
Hey,
literally, it explodes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't want you.
I'm done.
If you're done, you're done. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Scientist dude, what is the theory of everything?
You're right. I don't know. I'm not saying that I know that. Okay.
Is it God? Huh?
Well, that's not a useful theory of everything. It doesn't provide novel testable predictions.
Daryl Frost said current is flow voltage to pressure. Current is flow voltage to pressure.
Yeah, you could call it flow instead. You could also call it flow, but like
yeah, that would make sense.
We also call it, but like we like the current of a river, right? Like yeah, flow is probably a slightly more accurate word though.
That crunch data from 40 million collisions a second, the Higgs boson. Oh. So this is this, but this
it's
is
like
strange.
It's like nails on a chalkboard, though, right?
And it really is. Oh man, that was on July 4th, 2012. That was the announcement. Probably was on the 4th. I watched that live. I remember because I was doing a research internship at my alma mater, Lawrence University in Appleton, Wisconsin, in the summer of 2012. And when they announced that they were going to do a huge announcement, and they may have even announced that they were going to announce that they had discovered the Higgs boson, which is kind of a funny thing. And I watched that PowerPoint live, and I remember when they showed this plot and they had all of this background noise, and then they had a bump right there, and they were like, that right there, that's the signature. And it was amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah, I don't remember what I was doing. I heard about everything after the fact.
Yeah, okay.
What the fuck? You were like 2 years old when that happened.
2012? How old do you think I am?
I don't know, 13.
Wording you all. I am sorry. I apologize. I didn't write this. And
right.
The Higgs boson. So this
Sorry.
is this, but this is really strange. Look at this. Look at the wording, you all. I am sorry. I apologize. I didn't write this, and I am shocked. I just want to say
She is shocked. Shocked, she tells you.
am shocked
I do
that
kind of wish
they
they had a
felt
different.
the need to even.
I will admit, it is actually, in this context,
Mhm.
for a publication like this, I would not have used this. I wouldn't have put this in here.
Yeah,
That was
Yeah.
that was a little bit unprofessional.
a little bit.
It's because Leon Lederman wanted to name it the goddamn particle.
Why?
Because it was a huge pain in the ass to find. People have been looking for it since the 60s.
This goddamn particle. I get it.
And
I
Leon
get it.
Lederman, I've met Leon Lederman. He co-authored a wonderful book on quantum mechanics for a lay audience called Quantum Physics for Poets. I highly recommend it. This book has the only good description of entanglement for a lay audience that I have ever read.
Well, for those of you on the phone, it says before the discovery of the Higgs on July 4th, 2012, physicists had a theory, but no proof to explain how elementary particles like electrons and quarks got their mass. Such was the frustration that Leon Lederman, is that what you're saying?
Leon Lederman.
Lederman, a Nobel Prize winning physicist, wanted to title his 1993 book on the subject, The Goddamn Particle. If the universe was the answer, what is the question? Sensing this to be too controversial, his publisher switched it to the God particle, which in itself has irked those who believe that religion and science are separate spheres. I am one of those people. And not because I just arbitrarily think, or because I'm like an evil Satanist or, whatever. It's just that for apologists, it's just become too big of a rub.
It was a bad call.
Yeah,
it was a bad call. I don't like it. I think I wouldn't be surprised if he regrets it. He's pretty old now.
I'm pretty sure the goddamn particle wouldn't have stuck, and we could have actually given it a proper name if
Higgs boson is a proper name.
Okay, right. But they call it the God particle, and I'm saying like it wouldn't have stuck if it was the goddamn particle.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It wouldn't have stuck. He wouldn't have become. I'm pretty sure like it was probably like a New York Times bestseller. There aren't that many physics books that become popular. The God particle would have been one of them.
Oh, right, yeah.
Most of the other ones that I can think of from the last however many years are related in some way to string theory. The Trouble with Physics by Lisa Moline, The Elegant Universe by Brian Greene. But string theory lied to you. Sorry.
I apologize. I didn't write this, and I am shocked. I just want to say I am shocked that they felt the need to even write that in there like that, you all. I'm thinking, why? It's a little insensitive. It is insensitive, no matter how you look at it.
She's actually not wrong. This is precious, and she's way too bent out of shape about it. But like, if I was the editor, I wouldn't have let that go to press.
I don't blame anybody for anything.
Yeah.
Hindsight is 20/20.
Yeah.
So,
at it. Perhaps they thought it was humorous, but I don't mind any humor in it. I really don't.
Well,
it's
you're a wet
quite
blanket.
offensive, regardless. The Higgs boson isn't the God particle, it's the particle. Before the discovery of the Higgs on July the 4th of 2012, they celebrated it, okay? Physicists had a theory about no proof to explain how elementary particles like electrons and quarks A particle. If the universe is the answer, what is the question?
I'm not really sure how that has anything to do with the Higgs boson, and that seemed like his attempt at making a clickbait title. But
Sensing this to be too controversial, his publishers switched it to the God particle, which in itself has irked those who believe that religion and science are separate spheres. Okay, so we're not going to look at that. So you can look at that in here, you all, because we've got the link
Yeah,
here.
we wouldn't want you doing the
The-
actual research. I mean, not for watching the video as research, but it looked like it probably would have been more informative than anything she was saying.
I have no problem with people watching videos to learn more about like stuff. Like,
No, I do not. Not what I
Yeah.
said.
no, I know you did. Yeah.
If that's where you need to start, I think, or even finish, that is totally fine. I think that you shouldn't die on a hill created from a YouTube video.
I agree.
That's all I'm saying.
I agree, and I will die on that hill on this YouTube video that we're doing right now.
The
I
Higgs
approve.
boson is unlikely to prove or disprove the existence of God. Okay.
Yeah,
3, we are
that's true.
still at least 95% ignorant. Ignorant is not knowing. It
I mean, I think that's basically correct. I'll take a drink.
Yeah, Roger's always better. We cover him once a month. We don't do that with anyone else. So
Yeah.
there'll be more Roger. Check back in with us next month. I mean, next week though too.
is, and stupidity is knowing, but not even using what you know. So the theory of relativity, the World Wide Web was born at CERN. Now, how could that be? But it did.
What do you mean? How could it be? The World Wide Web is actually a thing that you can define with very particular terms, and it is not synonymous with the internet. It's not. It refers to a particular protocol of packaging data and sending the data in packets and then communicating using these packets in order to be like resistant against when you lose some of the data. And that whole system and protocol and everything was invented by Tim Berners-Lee. So yes, the World Wide Web, not the internet, the World Wide Web was invented at CERN.
1989, the World
question?
Wide Web.
Always use religious names?
Yeah, I mean, I understand like the question about I can't. They just don't always use biblical names.
Can you give me an actual official particle name? Because God particle is not an official particle name. The official particle name is the Higgs boson. Okay, or boson. I'm unaware of any explicitly religious names, and guess what? A lot of names are ultimately religious or religious adjacent in origin. It's like people are. I've talked to people who are surprised that the names Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. They're like, what are the odds that the Gospels would have those names that are so common in modern like Christian culture? And I'm like,
wait, somebody said that to you?
I swear I've seen this multiple times. And I'm like, I don't think you understand the causal direction there. The reason those are common names is because of those Gospels.
They're biblical names.
Yes. My name is Michael. Michael is a biblical name.
Yeah. And then look up the carbon atom, 6 protons, 6 electrons, number 6 on the periodic table. What does that mean? Is that a thing?
It does have 6 protons. It does have 6 electrons. And the most common isotope of carbon has 6 neutrons.
I mean, no, like, is this do you hear this a lot? Like, does this prove God?
No, I haven't heard that a lot actually. For one thing,
I don't know what.
famous.
I mean,
isotope
I'll
is
give
carbon.
her that these are like, even if I just grant it, I don't want to look it up. I'll just grant it.
No,
These are things.
True.
Therefore, God, is that what? I don't. Where are we going with this?
Well, I think the point is that therefore Satan has been able to infiltrate his influence into the bowels of reality.
Well, if Satan's real, therefore God. I will give her that. Now prove Satan. Haha. Play button.
Well, yeah, but the carbon atom thing, that did prove Satan.
Was born at CERN. There have always been forces to try to control the internet. CERN costs the equivalent of a cappuccino a year per European.
And I want to die on this hill. This is why science is inexpensive. Because CERN is a multi-billion dollar institution.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it's given us in the last 15 years in terms of directly, obviously applicable stuff. But it invented the World Wide Web in 1989. So you know what? I think that gives them like literally 200 years of credit. Right?
No, I mean, I have no problems with CERN whatsoever. I would love to see any of these wormholes to hell that I keep hearing about every fucking time I go online to look for a video. But outside of actually seeing that scientists are being paid Illuminati shills that are trying to why would you even need a wormhole to hell? I don't understand this. Like, I mean, because clearly demons are roaming around freely, making pastors, fuck same-sex individuals, prostitute and strippers, kids who clearly can't consent, taking money from poor people, shaming them for, not being godly enough to have enough money to pay them and their bills. Like, I don't understand why we need to rip holes to hell when demons are clearly already rampaging the earth, causing evil.
Fair. Excellent questions.
So I'm sure it's costs more than that, you all. What's that? This is so silly. Geeks, intriguing businesses, the world's biggest experiment can be stopped by weasels. So this is like
oh, wait. You should elaborate on this.
The world's biggest experiment can be stopped by weasels. So this is
the world's biggest experiment can be stopped by weasels.
Oh. We are a proud people. Tell
us more.
So there was I don't remember exactly when this happened. This might have been like 2008 or something, or yeah, Alec Wardlaw. But you know how I mentioned how if for some godforsaken reason one of those superconducting magnets were to suddenly not be superconducting anymore, and therefore it produces an enormous amount of heat in the same way that like an electric stove or a light bulb produces heat, an incandescent light bulb. Now, the question is, okay, well, how could that happen? And the way that can happen is when a goddamn weasel gets into your experiment and starts literally chewing on the wires, because we are a proud people and we are highly interested in physics.
And very hungry, apparently.
Yeah, and a weasel got all up in that, and they like to chew on the thing. And so a weasel started chewing on wires, hit the wire, got electrocuted to death.
Oh my God!
Yeah. No. Proud people. But if that weasel was going out, he was going to take 2.5 years of data collection time with him, because he broke one of those superconducting magnets. A bunch of magnets broke which means that all of the liquid helium that was inside all the pipes flash boiled, which means it all exploded. And there was a big explosion in the particle accelerator tunnel. And they had to spend years, like a year and a half or so, replacing all of that. And it is because of Weasels. Look at this guy.
Goddamn Weasels.
Look at how cute he is. You gotta put it back up.
You are a messenger of the devil. What the hell?
Yep. And so I'm just gonna put a few more weasel emojis in the chat. And yeah.
A moment of silence for that poor weasel who gave his life for science.
Well, he gave his life to, inconvenient scientists. Honestly, kind of a jerk. But because this was a very expensive mistake. This infiltration of the weasel, and his weaselly ways, was an extremely expensive mistake.
Yes, indeed.
Yep, just went all up in there and just started chewing on the wiring. Oh,
God.
Godspeed, Weasel.
Worth it.
No,
I mean not the weasel, but making it to minute. What were we at? 12.
That was I thought it was like minute 16, but I guess it was minute 12. But that is the cameo that we all promised you. Was I traveled back in time and caused a lot of damage to the Large Hadron Collider. I hope you're proud.
I did not say that all scientists are weasels. I said that there are a lot of weaselly scientists, but like just this one. He's a bunch of weasels in a trench coat. Like,
we are proud people.
See, this is like that's not a good article. It's not, but you know what?
It mentioned
this
Weasels.
Right here.
Great article.
I was sitting there thinking about this, and did they like this one right here? CERN researchers apologize for the destruction of 5 parallel universes.
I have never heard of that before.
And I think the Onion is like a sarcastic,
don't look at me.
Type of a thing right there. CERN and Bible prophecy, and Stephen King destroying.
Oh my God! What did she just call him?
What did she just call him?
CERN and Bible prophecy, and Stephen King.
Stephen King.
Oh,
Stephen King.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
She just got Stephen Hawking confused with Stephen King.
And who among us have never? Wait, all of us have never made that mistake.
Oh,
that is hilarious. I didn't. You know what? I heard Stephen King, but I wasn't reading. I was reading. It's my fault. I was reading the chat. I wasn't reading the board. And I was like, "What? Stephen King? That's a thing." And yeah.
Oh.
Destroying the universe. And look at this from Gaia. Is the man?
Oh, Gaia. You probably know a lot more about Gaia. Can you give us a quick rundown on Gaia?
Yeah, that used to be my ish. Gaia.
Thank God I'm here.
Great meditation videos. Everything else, I don't believe anyone here would properly appreciate. Now, if you want to know Gaia is very much like Jordan. What's Jordan's show?
Spirit Science.
Yes. Gaia is. They're actually better received in the New Age community than Spirit Science. They're actually
hopefully they have more consent involved.
And there's that. But no, they are considered to be a credible source in the New Age community. Jordan tries too hard to placate everyone. So he ends up getting side-eyed by a lot of people as well. So everybody kind of takes Jordan with a grain of salt. And there might be a video that resonates with you, there might not. And you just know that Jordan is, I don't know, I think the thought is that Jordan's trying, but sometimes missing the mark, as are we all. And, so you don't judge him, you just let him find his path. Guy, on the other hand, is kind of like the New Age encyclopedia of videos and shit.
Yup.
Mandela effect, evidence of CERN creating parallel dimensions.
No. The answer to the question that was just asked is no. The Mandela effect is not evidence of CERN creating parallel dimensions. By the way, when you were still in, do you know when the Mandela effect theory came around? Ask your science dude, how do black holes form?
Science dude, how do black holes form?
By the way, blessed be he, to be absolutely clear, yes, I am 100% Maya science dude, but I'm also your science dude. Okay? I belong to all of you. Okay?
I mean, his name is Dr. Vandegraff.
Yes.
Or Science Dude. You should change your channel name.
I don't know.
No,
I feel like Dr.
you
Tapioca Weasel is...
You can't change your main. You got to change one of the socks. There's people, I'm pretty sure they would come at me with pitchforks and it's like, we like Tapioca Weasel. And then we'd get a bunch branding. And then we'd get a bunch of alt accounts from the community. And you would never know again, which is the real Tapioca Weasel.
And which one is one of Sumami's alts? Not that I'm picking on Sumami.
We'd never pick on Sumami.
I love you, Sumami.
Was that believable?
I hope not.
How do black holes form?
So black holes, when you look at the equations of general relativity and you consider the influence of a large amount of mass in a small area, eventually you come across a solution such that beyond a certain amount of mass, nothing, including light, can escape from right next to it. If you just keep on adding mass, it gets harder and harder and harder for anything to escape, but it still can, and it still can, and it still can. And eventually you cross a threshold and nothing can escape. And that's when you have a black hole. And the way that forms is you get a lot of mass in a very compact area. The way that normally happens typically has to do with the death of a star, type 1a supernova. What happens in those particular situations is that you have a white dwarf, which is accreting mass from a neighboring like red supergiant or something, which is just sloughing off a bunch of hydrogen, and that all comes onto the white dwarf. And as the white dwarf becomes more and more and more massive, it gets smaller. It doesn't get bigger, it gets smaller because it's getting more gravity, and the gravity is more powerful than everything else until it gets small enough that it can finally balance. But if you look at the equations, then it turns out that you keep on adding mass to a white dwarf, and it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And if you add, eventually the size of it will cross zero. And that's called the Chandrasekhar limit, and it's, I believe, 1.44 solar masses. So if you just had like a garden hose next to a white dwarf, and you just kept on pumping water onto it, eventually it would get more and more and more massive and get smaller and smaller and smaller, and it would become a black hole in a process that is a type 1a supernova, which is a standard candle, and it's great for all sorts of things. So the answer is you get a lot of stuff in a small area. That's how you get a black hole. And no, they are not. There probably are, though. They probably are magnets.
Oh, Spooky is another one.
I was answering that one. I was saying they probably are magnets.
No, you answered this one.
Are black holes magnets? Oh, what's the other one? Are magnets black holes? Is that?
Yeah.
Oh, come on! I hate you so much, Spooky. Hold on, let me drink.
And then how are we derailing the chat this time? So your science dude, Dr. Vandegraff, is saying that black holes form in the cancellation process of mass and space-time. He could have said that instead of that word salad. I don't know that was a word salad, but
I'm sorry if it came across as word salad. I can always improve on my communicating skills. But no, cancellation process of mass and space-time is not a thing that I'm aware of. It's a black hole is formed when the curvature of space-time due to a local mass distribution is so strong that even light will not escape. That is how a black hole forms.
Is this even a possibility? Oh, awesome. Welcome, Pippa.
So, like, in a sense, not with the universe the way it actually is, but like you can imagine different sort of versions of the universe where the Big Bang kind of went woo, and it all sort of contracted in on itself. But
yeah,
not like actually. That being said, it is true that eventually the vast majority, and this actually might already be true, possibly, it's possible that most of the matter in the universe is already in a black hole. And if that's not true, it's very likely that there will be a time in the future when most of the matter in the universe is in a black hole. The universe
in a black hole, or like the result like came through a white hole?
They're in a black hole.
Okay.
White holes are they remain entirely hypothetical and theoretical.
At this time.
At this time, we do not have any observational or experimental evidence for white holes. They are mathematically consistent solutions to the equations under certain situations.
So hey, I've always wanted to ask this. So okay, what if all white holes are the beginnings of new universes, and the cosmic radio background is like could that be our white hole?
The thing about a white hole is that it would not provide an extremely isotropic distribution, which is what we see from the cosmic microwave background. Like, the cosmic microwave background is very, very straightforwardly understood as being the consequence of an extremely uniform distribution of much more dense mass on the universal scale. It was actually much less dense than like the atmosphere, but not like by a factor of 1 billion, by a factor of like 1,000. So, and that occurred. The cosmic microwave background occurred when the universe became transparent, probably over maybe, I think, a roughly 1,000 year period, starting at roughly 378,000 years after the Big Bang. If the cold lambda CDM, the cold lambda dark matter, the lambda CDM, which stands for lambda cold dark matter, sorry, if that model of cosmology is true, which I would not bet my life on.
So we have 2 questions. First one from Spooky Bed Hair.
I don't know. You'll have to ask. I don't want to speak for the Black community on this.
Daryl Frost says white holes are impossible. A white hole would require energy to have mass. It does not have mass.
Everything requires energy to have mass. That's what E equals M squared means. MC squared, M squared.
I'm sorry, I understood what you meant.
Yeah,
Actually, you
but
might want to
Daryl would
clarify that
fight
for
with me.
Daryl because,
Yeah.
right, I don't want him like spam the chat with the scientific
Hopefully
equations.
Daryl would give me that level of leeway, but maybe not. I don't know. It's possible that white holes have been like ruled out. That being said, Daryl, you're not necessarily the person I go to when I want the general consensus of interpretations of general relativity. No offense.
Also, wait, where did I just see that? Would you like to answer the question, why are there no tie-dye holes?
Well, a white hole would be a tie-dye hole.
Oh, cool.
Because white
Yeah,
is
actually,
just a
you're right.
combination of
Yeah.
stuff, right? Yeah.
That wait.
White light, though, is uniform over the spectrum, and a tie-dye is not uniform over the spectrum. It will have blotches where
You're fucking up the joke. It was
I
funny.
know, but
I know. You
that's
can't help
an
yourself.
even better joke.
Hey, oof. If I see it again, I'll highlight it, but we have about 10 minutes, so.
Yeah. So for the next roughly 10 minutes, it's mostly just the CERN thing. And then she does get back to other content here. I have not looked at this stuff.
Go ahead.
Okay.
If we did get stuck in a parallel dimension and they're not admitting it. They're not admitting it.
The type. Can you read? It?
Fucking admit it.
Word. This word.
Uh-huh.
The word, it starts with an A, it ends with an S, and it looks like the word admits. Now, it's false, but like, you played yourself, Gina. Why do you always do this? Why do you always play yourself? I'm so upset.
Well, we do have insane things that do not make sense. We have unpredictable weather.
Yeah, fundamentally, that's all weather. That's how chaos theory was discovered.
And of course, they've got all kinds of movies out there too. You all see, this was a silly. This was strange right here. Listen to this, and I think this is supposed to be satire right here. They apologize for the destruction.
So, for the record, this is in fact from The Onion.
Of 5 parallel universes.
You're right.
Yep, theonion.com.
In
holy shit.
Recent experiment. But
That's funny. Is there any way she has no idea what the onion is?
Even she said it's probably satire or intended to be
you're right,
satire. The answer to your question,
why are you holding this up like a source though? Like, holy shit. That is so funny.
Is it just satire? Yes. At the European Union Nuclear Research, we're sorry to report that in conducting research involving high-powered proton-proton collisions, we inadvertently caused the implosion of 5 universes nearly identical to our own.
Oh my God, that's so
Fabiola Gionati, adding that billion.
I totally thought that she said tapioca when she was reading that name correctly.
Yeah, I know.
Millions of people worldwide might have experienced momentary vertigo around 9:45 a.m. as a result of several of their alternate identities being wiped from existence.
Those damn alternate identities.
Yeah, so that sounded really weird. It really did. But, you know, they do have the strange ceremonies at CERN. They do. See, like this looks kind of strange.
Strange ceremonies at CERN? Like award ceremonies?
Like human sacrifice.
Oh, right, right. Yeah, I keep forgetting that every so often we have the baby eating ceremony at CERN.
Yeah,
After the annual opening of the Hell Dimension.
that's how I was given. I was anointed and
Mm,
crowned the Antichrist at one of these, which is why my computer is the Antichrist computer, because I'm the Antichrist.
that makes perfect sense.
No, 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 no. You all, we are not looking into that. We're not. Yeah, they have strange ceremonies there, really wild looking ceremonies, and all of that kind of stuff. So I guess we'll just have to see what they're going to do, even if they announce everything that they are going to do. I think there's going to be some things, some experiments that are ran that we're not going to know anything about, that will not make it out into the.
I don't know about that. CERN, I believe, is one of these institutions. They don't do secret research. They're not part of a military or anything like that.
Right.
Organizations like that exist. Like there are national labs where you're not going to. Not all of the information coming out of Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory is necessarily going to be unclassified. Most of it is, but not necessarily all of it. I think CERN, all of it is like pub. I think it. Yeah, I think it is pretty darn transparent because it's not a military thing. For one thing, it's too international. It is a fundamentally international institution. It
Right.
is
Yeah.
it is a pan-European institution. They talked
Right.
about
Well,
Romania
it was supposed to
joining
be here, but we were just too religious
the
and
the Large Hadron Collider. Yeah, was
yeah.
not the well the
Well, right,
we
right,
we
right.
were
Yeah.
building a version of it called the Superconducting Super Collider,
Right.
and we dug a big hole in the ground in Texas, and it
Hmm.
shouldn't have been in Texas, by the way. It was very obviously there was one location in this country that was very obviously, for all non-political reasons, the
Hmm.
best choice, and
Which was
that was Batavia, Illinois, at Fermilab. Because
was it because you were close to there?
no, it was because they already had the biggest particle collider in the world at the time,
Oh, did not
and
know that.
they now have, I believe, the most luminous one. It
Ah.
they so the particle collider, the big one at Fermilab, which is no longer um, running in, at least in that same form, is called the Tevatron. TeV standing for tera electron volt. Doesn't matter.
Right, right, right.
That's where the top quark was discovered in the early 90s, and it very clearly they should have built the next bigger version of it there and used the current thing, which is like a, I don't know, 7 mile in circumference, whatever, like collider, as the injection for the bigger version. But instead they decided to build it in Texas. Why did they decide to build it in Texas?
That was going to be my next question.
Because this decision was made at some point between 1988 and 1992. Does that explain it?
Okay. You know
Yeah.
what? Shutting up.
Yeah, that explains it, doesn't it? Because our good friend HW, the better of the two W's.
Yeah. Sadly.
He legitimately was like, and honestly, I'm pretty sure I speak for everybody here when, we saw what happened. It could always get worse.
Yeah. Yeah. Vote, 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 vote. All right, where are we
Vote
at?
early,
154?
vote.
Oh, sorry. Go
To
ahead.
public knowledge.
I was just saying, vote early, vote often. I'm from Illinois. You're from Illinois.
Yeah,
That's how
yeah,
we
yeah.
do it.
Yep.
But I'm sure they'll have a ceremony, an opening ceremony for it, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of prominent people there, really. But I am going to go, you all. So yeah, it is something important to talk about because they have the capability to cause great change on this earth, and that change affects us as well. It does. So thank you all so much for tuning in, and thank you for your comments, because your comments do make a difference. People like to know what you know. They do. They like to read. I like to read what you write too, even though some of it is against me. I still like to read it. I do. Sometimes I like to laugh, but there is a lot of knowledge in the comments. 90% of the comments have a lot of information in them, and I want to thank you all for contributing.
I want to like
that.
reverse those numbers.
So with that being said, hello,
Like
wherever
Oh,
you are.
sorry. I was clicking on the wrong
like
video.
90% of the chat has like a lot of like informative comments, and I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, if you say so. Well, everybody, that was Gina. I love Gina. I think she's adorable. She's great comic relief, and she
Yep.
is taking us out for Women's Month. So not taking us out in a good sense. Just it's probably our last month. So this is I learned like 2 hours ago that this is Palm Sunday. I was like, what the hell?
Wait, what?
This is Palm Sunday, apparently, which means that next week is Easter. Next week, I hope you all come back. Jefferson Spatchcock will be here with us, and I didn't realize it was going to be Easter. So now I want to do an Easter themed thing,
Yeah,
but
we got our work cut out for us.
yeah. I don't know. We may or we may not, but I'm really excited to get Jeff back on the show, and I think it'll be fun. Do you have anything coming up?
I was just going to say that we should see if we can work Darth Dawkins into the content.
I don't know that there's anything Darth related that Jeff hasn't already covered, but I don't know. I don't know. I part of me wants to say, I'm here for it. Another part of me is like, can I handle it?
I can't.
I know. We're gonna have to. We'll talk. We'll talk after the show, because oh my God, it's so hard for me to get. The hardest thing for Darth is like I need somebody like Jeff who, like, every time he says something, just stops the tape and is like, this is stupid. Let me impart some logic and common sense here. And I'm like, oh yeah, logic, common sense. Brain not broken anymore. Now I'm gonna break your brain again with a play button. Like, oh no, make it stop. All right, here's why that was wrong. Like, and that's what I love about Jeff. Like, I can tolerate Darth in like small doses like that. But like listening to like 45 minutes of Darth just straight through. I don't know if I wouldn't fall out of a window.
I really wish that during the one conversation I ever had with Darth, which was one-on-one without an audience for 20 minutes, and then one person joined the little chat, and they were like a 15-year-old random person from one of I don't know. Haven't spoken to them in years. It was one-on-one. Do you know how many conversations I've seen with Darth that are like actually one-on-one? The closest I can think of is when he calls in and talks to Shannon and gets eviscerated. And that's for an audience.
I don't know that he got eviscerated. I mean, she just laughed at him for like half an hour until like they went to until they went to what you call it. I mean, she refused to engage in conversation. I don't know that I've ever seen anybody like successfully. I've seen one person. I still keep trying to find that video, but I don't know that I've ever seen anybody successfully engage in conversation, because even
no, he doesn't let you.
Right. No, even when talking to people who he likes, it's still, I'm talking, and then they just let him monologue for like,
because if they don't,
good 10-20 minutes.
Because if they don't, what happens?
Same thing. I mean, it's just no different than being an atheist. It's like, I wasn't done talking. Don't over-talk me.
Yeah, and he's like, well, you're clearly a dishonest person who's not serious, and I don't. He just writes you off. Which, like, fair enough. I write him off, so there's that.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. But other point. I'll talk to you. I'll talk to Jeff. We'll see what we. I don't know. Here, I'm not putting another poll because we're about to leave. But what do you guys think? Yay, nay. One's in the chat if you are open to a dark stream. Two if you're not. And then I guess I'll make my decision based on that.
Yo, Caden, before we go, Caden, you want to do a Saturday show? We should do a Saturday show, Caden.
Yeah, if you could.
What's so funny?
Like the first thing we get in the chat is like, I don't know, 0.5. Because it was like one's in the chat if you're open to a dark stream, two if you're not, and people are just like, I don't.
They're like, I want to say
don't
no,
know.
but I also don't want to insult the weasel, and you shouldn't because this is my cult. You will not be welcome.
I don't know. We have 40 people in here. Nobody's saying that they. Well, oh wait, we do have one person. We have one person willing to. Oh God, BBH. I wouldn't want her to start following Darth. You know what? That happened to Tangelo. I remember I was there when he was like, "Who's Darth Dawkins?" And then the next thing I know, he would not unwrap his lips from his shaft.
Okay,
It was
here's the thing.
insane.
So BBH, if you listen to Darth and you find his presuppositional logic to be compelling, like, okay, you're wrong, you're really wrong, but like, fine. The thing about Darth is he's a mean person. He's mean, he's cruel, he's not. You do not have to be an atheist like myself or atheist adjacent, I guess, like Maya. Maya, do you count as atheist adjacent? Socially, you do.
I'm a friend of the community.
There we go. Okay. Yeah. There, you can get the same bad arguments from less terrible people. Not a lot less, but like a factor of 10.
I mean, I don't know that they're less terrible, just definitely less obnoxious.
I feel like that. Yeah,
I mean, he's pretty racist and sexist, so which you can get people who don't
like
who are higher on the moral scale than he's willing to be.
This is my point. Yeah, it's like I'll always have a soft spot in my heart, for example, for somebody like oh no, God, it's not Mike Lycona. I was gonna say Mike Winger, but no, not Mike Winger. Mike Lycona. Mike Lycona believes a lot of silly things, in my opinion, but somebody put the question to him, being like, listen, do you think that the Gospel of Matthew was being literally true when it said that like a bunch of dead people like got up and walked around? And he said no, and he got fired from his faculty position.
Oh God, what?
Like Mike Lycona is doing his best to be an honest guy.
I love okay, so she does know who he is. And it's really funny. It's like, you better get your Kleenex ready. It's so funny because I wish, oh my God, back when oh God. There was a atheist streamer used to call herself Anti-Ordinary, and she had a channel briefly to piss off another atheist creator called the Great Debate Community, because that's what he called his channel. And I modded that like often, and I remember being in the Discord and I modded a chat between Darth and it was Darth, two atheists, and a Christian. And
that sounds like the beginning of a joke.
Right. I didn't talk. I just refused to talk. I was like, I'll let you guys handle your bullshit. And I had to mute Darth like quite a bit. Like I was just a mod, just being Mod Maya, and I had to mute Darth quite a bit.
I bet he loved that.
I could show you a screenshot where he's just like, "You're the worst mod ever," and I'm like, Darth, you wouldn't let anybody talk. Like you would ask a question and then they try to answer, and then you'd start talking, and then he was just like, "No, you such and such," and then he blocked me. And I'm like, "Yeah, thanks." That's He's a horrible human being. So I have talked to him. I didn't cry. He cried. He actually went into my DMs and started crying about me accurately moderating him.
I would
So
probably
like I don't need my tissue to deal with Darth. Darth has been trying to reach out to me for a solid 4 or 5 years. Every time he gets on a platform, one of his little acolytes gets in my DMs and it's like, "You need to come to this server now." And I'm like, "I don't answer to your god, sir. Like, go fuck yourself." And then I block them and I laugh about it to, whoever I'm closest to at the time. And, Darth can go fuck himself. He is chomping at the bit to talk to me, and he won't because it's a little bitch and I'm too good for him. And I hope somebody clips it and shows it to him. I hope a bunch of you fucking clip it and show it to him. I don't need to talk to him. He can't have a conversation. He's a little baby. Like, and this is why his whole family hates him, because he's just a crotchety old man who can't get along with others. I'm not going to talk to somebody like that. I'm going to laugh at them. Anyways, so my good friend BS is trying to siphon people away from me. I would like all of you to go over, rate him, and tell him I sent you. BS Lewis, friend of the show, and if you were here a month ago, you probably would have, you would have seen him here. He featured me in his last video, which did really well. It's got like, I want to say 2,500 views. And we actually got he got 50 extra subs from it. I think I only got 12 or 13, but not complaining. So if you found me because you watched a BS Lewis stream, thank you. Welcome. We're edgy people over here.
Blessed is apparently drunk the Darth Kool-Aid.
Oh, what's she saying? Darth just obliterates atheists. Like, is it Oppie and Malpass?
Malpass. I don't know Oppie, but Malpass.
I know who Malpass is.
Oppenheimer, but I'm pretty sure he's dead. Also, he's pretty good at obliterating. Just saying.
Sure. Dr. Graham Oppie.
Not familiar?
Not familiar, yeah.
Thank God for Mark Reed.
Yeah, no, thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. I'll look into it. I probably, you know what? I do talk to Jeff periodically. I'm sure he knows what that's a reference to. But I don't know. I'll think about it. I'll try to find something that will satisfy the masses, because God, I get a headache just thinking about Darth. I'm telling you.
That's because he obliterates all of your arguments, and you're living in a state of cognitive dissonance, Maya.
Oh,
you atheist.
That's clearly what's going on. Oh, Bree says she has a video where she makes Darth rage quit. That's funny. The only person I've ever seen make Darth rage quit. Richard Madsen made him rage quit, and that's just because he was just like so incomprehensible.
Yes, that is hilarious. Blessed be.
It was. I was there real time. It was great.
PBH has to be familiar with Richard Madsen.
Ah.
Right? It's got to be.
I mean, he's a smaller channel. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah,
I really don't know. And he hasn't been active in the past year. So
yeah, basically no. Yeah, 10 months or so, I think. But yeah.
If I spot a stupid, do you accept submissions? Stupid what?
She does a show with me, so yes is the answer to that, just to be clear.
Yeah, hit me, DM me. I have no
I
idea what
gotta
that
say,
means, but
listen,
we're always
BC,
open to things. What?
listen, BC, this science dude does not even know what the grand unified theory is. A grand unified theory is a theory that combines all of the forces except for gravity, actually. And in that sense, I think we like sort of have one. I
Well,
am a real scientist. I have my diploma. I'm showing my diploma.
no, oh my God, this is not necessary.
It's my
Oh,
diploma. See, Michael Jemison Van de Graaff, Doctor of Philosophy, because that's what PhD means. See, it's real. I don't need your judgment. Also, I feel a little offended that you keep on referring to me as this science dude. I'm Tapioca Weasel. I have interacted with you plenty of times in chat, blessed be he. Not just this chat, like multiple chats, I've interacted with you. I kind of... Native atheist is a scientist. This is true.
all right,
Yeah.
you know what? Everybody, go to BS Lewis, show love, let him know that we rated you, and that we rated him, and we're gonna see you back here next week, Jefferson Swatchcock, and it'll be epic. Oh, holy shit! What's going on now?
I'm proving spooky
Oh.
bad hair correct. See? A scientist. Wrong way. A scientist is always fine. God damn it, there it is. That's my lab coat right there.
Everyone, run now.
All right.
Get out, save yourselves. It's too late for me. We'll see you next. Say bye, Mandy.
Bye.